In a quiet little village, far away from the noise of the cities, lived a small boy named Tony and his loving grandmother. Tony was a bright and kind-hearted boy, but life had not been easy for him. He had no parents, only his grandma, who raised him with all the love in her heart. They lived in a small, worn-down house. Their roof sometimes leaked when it rained, and the wind often crept through the cracks in the walls, but still, they smiled, because love lived there. But not everything was happy. Tony didn't have much, no proper clothes, no school bag, no pencils, no books. His school uniform was old and torn. His shoes had holes, and sometimes he went to school barefoot. Other children didn't understand his struggles. They laughed at his clothes, whispered behind his back, and called him names. One afternoon, Tony came home with tears streaming down his cheeks. He hugged his grandma and sobbed, "Grandma, they laughed at me again. They said I'm too poor to be in school." His grandma gently wiped his tears. "My dear Tony," she said, "I may not have much, but tomorrow I will do something. I promise you." Tony sniffled, his heart a little lighter just from her words. That night, he went to bed dreaming of a new school bag, fresh books, and shiny shoes. He couldn't wait for tomorrow. The next morning, before the sun rose high, Grandma left the house. She held a small cloth pouch in her hand. Inside were a few coins, just enough, she hoped, to buy a simple uniform and a notebook or two. As she walked through the village thinking of what Tony needed, she noticed a man sitting quietly under a tree. He was thin, dusty, and clearly very hungry. His clothes were torn and his hands trembled. He was a beggar. He looked up at her with tired, pleading eyes. His lips were dry, his voice was too weak to speak. Grandma slowed down. Her heart tightened. She thought of Tony, his smile, his hopes, his dreams. But she also saw the hunger in this stranger's eyes. She walked away at first, but then something inside her made her stop. She turned back. With her few coins, she bought some rice and vegetables from the market. She returned home, lit the fire, and cooked a simple, warm meal. Then she gently handed the food to the beggar. He looked at her in surprise. His eyes welled with tears. He whispered, "Thank you." That evening, Tony returned home with excitement. He ran inside, hoping to see a brand new uniform or a bag with books. But instead, he saw the beggar eating the food his grandma had cooked. His smile faded. His heart dropped. He looked at his grandma and asked quietly, Did you buy my uniform?" His grandma looked down. "I'm sorry, Tony. I saw someone who needed help more than we do." Tony's eyes filled with tears. "You promised," he whispered. Then his voice rose, full of pain. "You said I would have books today. You said I wouldn't be laughed at anymore." The beggar listened to every word but said nothing. He quietly finished his food, stood up, and walked away. Tony ran to his room, crying. His grandma sat silently, her heart aching, not for herself, but for her grandson's pain. The next morning, as the village woke up to the sound of birds, something surprising happened. A big, shiny black car rolled into the village. It stopped right in front of Tony's small house. Tony peeked out the window. His grandma stepped outside, confused. A well-dressed man stepped out of the car. To her shock, it was the beggar from yesterday. But now he looked different. He was clean, healthy, and dressed in fine clothes. "Do you remember me?" he asked kindly. The grandma nodded, unsure. "1 week ago," he said, "I lost everything in an accident. My phone, my wallet, even my identity. No one would help me." He paused, then looked at her warmly. "But you gave me food. You gave me kindness. Even when you had so little." He smiled. "I'm not just a beggar. I'm actually the CEO of a large international company. I was traveling secretly without guards or attention to see the real world. Your kindness saved me." Tony slowly stepped outside, his eyes wide. The man looked at him and said, "From today, Tony, you will go to the best school in the country. I will take care of everything for you and your grandma." Tony ran and hugged his grandma tightly. Tears rolled down their cheeks. This time, they were tears of joy. Their lives had changed forever. All because one kind woman shared what little she had with someone in need. Always be kind even when it's hard. One small act of love can change your life forever.
Let's learn some words from this story.
1. Compassion. Meaning: deep sympathy and a desire to help someone who is suffering. Example: the grandmother showed great compassion when she fed the hungry man. 2. Humble. Meaning: not proud or arrogant, simple and modest. Example: the boy lived a humble life with his grandmother. 3. Gratitude. Meaning: the feeling of being thankful and appreciative. Example: the man expressed his gratitude for the grandmother's kindness. 4. Misfortune. Meaning: bad luck or an unfortunate event. Example: after a terrible misfortune, the man lost everything he had. 5. Benevolent. Meaning: kind, generous, and wanting to do good for others. Example: the grandmother was a benevolent woman who helped everyone. 6. Change. Meaning: when something becomes different. Example: his life changed after that day.